Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, December the 20th. Hey, I want to send out a happy birthday to my dad, the best man I've ever known. 82 years old, and he is still kicking, fishing himself out there in Northern California. But right now, what we're going to do is check in with some other decent people that I know. We're going to talk to Tom, Lee, Tracy, and Gentry to find out what's going on in our neighborhood, how many presents we can open right here before Christmas. We'll be right back with what the guys have to say. Hey, we got a little special treat. We got Tracy Robinson, our local expert, joining us in studio today. Tracy, we're going to talk Logan Martin, Lake as usual. What's going on? Everybody's getting ready for Christmas or the presents to be had.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. The fishing's still pretty good. Temperatures up and down, causing a little bit of a day-to-day situation. You have to kind of prepare daily. But for this past week, early in the week, really cold temperatures. The bite was still pretty good, though. The main lake is the deal right now. The water temperature's kind of dipping down below that wintertime level, 52-ish. So the balsa baits are really starting to play in now, the shad wrap type baits as well. Okay. So that main lake with these temperatures fluctuating is staying more consistent from a temperature perspective, and that seems to be where the fish want to be right now. So if I'm giving suggestions, take those, shad wrap probably the best one right now. And those balsa baits, get out there on that main lake and just go down the banks there. There's nothing that's really holding them in one spot, but they're just kind of sitting out there with that more stable temperature water out there, bouncing off the chert rock and the chunk rocks. And I always talk about rocks, but another key player right now is those red clay banks too. Yep. Look for the red clay. That red clay, for whatever reason, I think it holds more temperature in the winter months. So red clay and rocks with your balsa baits out there. Still the forward facing, a little bit going on out there. The key of that's looking for the birds. You'll see the birds on the bait out there. Drop the trolling motor, take the forward facing, just take a look at it and see. You may have to check a lot of different piles of fish to find some that are feeding, but that's kind of been the key out there, that forward facing. The crappie, 10 to 15 foot brush piles has been the key. Taking the 16th ounce Bobby Garland, Monkey Milk, Blue Weiss on those 10 to 15 foot brush piles. And then the docks, 30-second wait, shooting some of those docks that's got brush on them, you'll catch the crappie.
All right, Lake, got about a minute left.
Lake, it's a mixed bag down there. You're having to do a little bit of both. There's still a little bit of grass bite going on down there, but as these temperatures are kind of creeping down, you've got to get away from the swim jig just a little bit now and start dropping a weight into those heavier mats that hold the warmth. And then get out there, and probably the jerk bait on the points is probably the secondary pattern down there, the jerk bait, and then a little bit of forward facing in the Paint Creek area.
Gotcha. Well, brother, as always, man, we appreciate everything that you do. Thanks for always helping us, and Merry Christmas to you and the whole family.
Yep. Thank you, Dano.
Hey, just like we had with Tracy, come join us. We got Tom Ott in studio today. A little special treat for Christmas. Everybody gets to see the face locally. Tom, what's going on Guntersville? Are we getting to unwrap some big green fish?
Well, Dano, it's just like it has been. I mean, that A-rig is still really producing. The jerk bait is really producing. We talked a little bit about pinging a minute, but I'm not a real big fan of that. But it's a little difficult to get into. But, the crappie bite's been incredible. The striper bite's been pretty good. I think you can get out there and just catch about anything you want. It's a good time to get out with a spoon or something like that and catch some stripe.
Vertical?
Absolutely. You could cast. I think you could do just about anything. Okay. I mean, I'm finding most of my crappie in about 8 foot of water, right on the grass edge, and they're just very predictable right now.
Main channel grass edge, or are you talking kind of the creeks?
Absolutely. Well, cuts and the main channel.
Okay.
But they're just kind of holding on those little doolollies, if you will, where the grass makes a spot, and that's where they're really sitting, especially if there's bait there. And it's been incredible.
How's the current been on the lake? Is it going pretty well? Are they running some?
It's moving, absolutely, but it's been kind of the inflow and the outflow have kind of been negatory on each other, so it hasn't been a whole lot of movement. I've been staying on the lower end of the lake, so most of the water moving down there is when the gates are open or closed or something like that. But not enough to keep you off the river or to keep the fish, really tight to the cover.
Well, and a lot of times in the wintertime, you kind of want that still water.
Absolutely.
They don't want to have to fight so much. Their metabolism's down, and they're kind of fighting.
Exactly. And until you catch those crappie, I think their metabolisms must be kicking real hard because they're pretty hungry now.
Yeah, they're eating pretty good.
Yeah.
So Alabama rig set up. What are you looking at? How big of the baits are you using on it?
Right now, I'm fishing with a 3.5 inch. I'm using either a small paddle tail. I've just started trying some reaction innovations, but I've been using Scottsboro tackle here lately. That seems to be a really key thing, is just matching that size of bait. And I always like to put something different on the center wire.
Okay.
So
you go bigger or just a different color?
just a different color. I usually like something green or gold. Again, superstition, but it seems to work for me, And then I like a Strike King, a deep running jerk bait.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
KBD 300.
Yes.
Deep?
Just I just want something that I can get down there a little bit faster, quicker. Because, those fish are moving so fast. If you don't make the right cast at the right time, you just miss it.
Gotcha. Well, Tom, as always, brother, we appreciate everything. We're glad you came by today. Always fun to have you in studio.
Well, I appreciate it. Hey, Merry Christmas to everybody, and Tight Lines will catch you next week.
Hey, we got another treat in studio. We got Lee Pitts. He is the crappie king of Weiss Lake, and he ain't too shabby when it comes to bass fishing either. We're going to talk a little bit of Weiss Lake and Neely Henry. The crappie bite's got to be getting going. You got to be starting to kind of really start to fire up for where your season, where you make most of your money all year, right?
It is, and right now, like I said, it's with the cold weather, the water like it is right now, we're catching a lot of fish in multiple ways. You can, if you like the dock shoot, you can still catch them doing that. But these fish are out. They're starting to kind of school up a little bit, starting to kind of roam around some. You still got some on the breaks, holding tight to that wood cover. So you can catch them multiple ways right now.
Okay. What's the bass bite like on Weiss?
Bass, it's your typical winter stuff. It's you get a little bit of sunshine, a little bit of wind, you can catch them on a blade. You still getting up there shallow. You know how the Coosa bite is. I don't care if it's after a snow, you can still catch them shallow. But the bass, the largemouth, are getting on that wood cover. Riprap, some of the things, you get some sunshine on the riprap in that 3, 4, 5 foot of water. You can catch them on a square bill. You can catch them pitching a smaller jig. I've not talked to a lot of the guys that are catching them on the big trailers and the big chunks on there, but you kind of downsize a little bit in the winter and slow down and catching some good largemouth. The spots have been real good on Weiss right now. It's a lot of bait out there, and on these longer points, some of the hard bottoms, we got our drawdown, 3-foot drawdown. It's right there at it. So it's winter pool right now, so you can see a little bit more of what you're throwing at. Some of the stumps are visible, and just getting out there on that wood cover and finding those harder bottoms and just knocking around. Even if you get a day with some sun and some wind, you can go old school and throw a trap on them. Get out there and kind of yo-yo, hop a trap around, and still catch fish.
All right, so Neely Henry, I've been hearing kind of maybe they're still in the grass a little bit. There's a flipping bite a little bit, maybe even a jackhammer a little occasionally, or has that kind of died off?
It slowed up a little bit, but I think a lot of that, the sunshine helps that.
Okay.
You get a good sunny day that that grass is going to hold some heat in it. That's going to bring your bait fish up there. That's going to get the fish where they can kind of get in there and get set up where they need to and not exert a whole lot of energy.
Okay.
They can just sit there in their little, I call them their little garages. You find a place where that grass is kind of tipped over a little bit, and they just back up in it and wait for somebody to come check the mail, and they get their lunch.
And the crappie, I'm assuming those will be on the edges of docks that have some brush around them and out there on the channels too.
Yep.
All right, brother. As always, we appreciate everything. Merry Christmas to you, and thanks for what you do for us.
All right, guys. Merry Christmas. Let's go get them.
Hey, Christmas is right here. Just a few more shopping days and just a few more days to go fishing before we have to sit around and open presents. We're going to talk to Gentry Gordy, see what's going on Lake Martin and on Jordan Lake. Gentry, Lake Martin's been a bit of a kerfuffle. What's going on with you down there?
Yeah, it's starting to turn around a little bit, Dano. Talked to some guys, had some pretty good weights in the last tournament this past weekend. And I think your square bill bite and stuff like that, I even talked to some guys throwing some rattle traps in some of those shallower pockets. And still hitting some trash piles, but I think the better fish, from what my understanding was, square bills, kind of digging up mud now that everything's kind of settled out. A lot of the guys said that you can still catch a ton of fish scoping and A-rigs and stuff like that. And, every now and then catch a decent one on an A-rig or something. But numbers-wise, it's a lot of fun, jerkbait, stuff like that. But the bigger fish, you got to start looking for your largemouth bite, your shallower trash piles, stuff like that. Some good docks still in the water.
What kind of techniques are you using outside of the square bill? That's obviously a search bite. Are you having to finesse, or can you go with a jig? What are you having to do to get a few extra bites?
At Martin, this time of year, man, I always throw like a spider ball jig, that and a shaky head with like a pink worm or Aaron's Magic color. That's just a staple up there. Let the wacky rig float down on top of some of them trash piles, or see if you can hop a jig through it and make them react.
Green pumpkins, is that what you're looking at for the jig, or you kind of go browns at this point?
I do more of a light brown with some red mixed in. That seems to be, I always get a bigger bite on something like that.
Okey-doke. All right, let's turn to Jordan Lake. I know it's still a current, dominated kind of a situation, but we probably aren't seeing much. What's the deal there?
Yeah, well, it's still those guys are still up that river. Just like I said, man, they're scoping, and that's where your big weights are coming from. Of course, it's better, when the current's moving, but when it's not, and those fish just roam, that's when them guys will really hurt you because they can find them quicker than I can going down a bank. But down the lake, the new lake always comes into play. Well, it's always in play, but this time of year, especially if you can get some current going through that canal and out on the other end, boats stack up in there, but they stack up in there for a reason. Fish are starting to bite in there. And do it, and you can get on back in there and do the square bill and rattle trap thing there as well. But those spots, jerk baits on some of those deeper walls through the new lake and up the river, that's really key.
And I know the crappie bite is starting to pick up everywhere, all over. Some vertical stuff on some of those deeper brush piles, and even some of those docks that have brush piles on the edge of them. Gentry, as always, brother, thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you and everybody, and we'll talk to you again next week, my friend. Well, that wraps up our Bucks Island Area Fishing Report, the pre-Christmas edition, right here on December 20th. Thanks to the guys for everything that they do to help us put fish in the boat. Folks, we are closed to allow our people to spend time with their people for the holiday season. You are the best part of Bucks Island. You are presents to all of us. You are a gift that we appreciate. We wish all of you a Merry Christmas. Come see us after the new year when we open back up. Thank you for who you are and what you do, and we will see you after the new year.